Sunday nighter. NFC South leading Tampa Bay, taking on Dallas, who had been eliminated from any playoff possibility by the time this game started. Keep that in mind as you watch these highlights. Dallas is leading 3-0. Late first quarter, gorgeous throw and catch. Cooper Rush, Jalen Tolbert back in the end zone. Home team leads 10-0. Early second, Baker Mayfield. Mike Evans, diving catch. Evans, 5 catches, 69 yards. He's going to need to do some heavy lifting to get another 1,000-yard season. He got 10 straight. There's the rookie from Oregon, Bucky Irving, into the end zone. It's now a 10-7 game. Dallas has added a field goal. They lead 13-7 late second. And on this play, it's a little underthrown, but CeeDee Lamb makes the adjustment. A 52-yard pickup on the play. Had that shoulder injury earlier this year against Atlanta. Banged up a little there, but he'd stay in the game. It's Ezekiel Elliott from the 1-yard line. Dallas leading by 13. Next, Bucs drive. Enough time to get on the board, and it's 6 as Mayfield ad-libs, finds Jalen McMillan sliding down, maintains control. Dallas kicks another field goal. I think it was Aubrey from like 58 or something, because that's all he does. So it's a 9-point lead, 23-14. Still a 9-point lead. Each team has added a field goal. When Mayfield hits Trey Palmer on 3rd and 10, they gain 27. Deep ball here, under 7 to go in the 4th. And it looks like it's a touchdown to McMillan. No, it's Jordan Lewis, who does an amazing job of ripping the ball away, and that's a pick for the Cowboys. But after a quick Cowboy 3-and-out, Baker and the Bucs need to get cooking in a hurry. Mayfield, that's a dot to McMillan, gain of 16. 2nd and 4 from the 13. That's certainly the time to look for Ryan Miller. He's all alone in the end zone. Touchdown, now a 2-point game. Tampa Bay needs a stop. It looks like Jake Ferguson's going to get the first down, and then here comes Vita Vea. If that man has a running start and hits you, that would suck. I mean, there's got to be a more eloquent way to say it, but it would have to be a bad feeling. Anyway, they get the ball back, and now Baker looks like he stopped. They let him keep going, and now Rachaad White fighting for more yards, and Deron Bland rips it out of his hand. For the second time, a member of the Cowboys secondary rips it away from a Buccaneer. I'm wondering, is he in the grasp? They're giving Baker the benefit of the doubt because he's still fighting for yards, and then White's still fighting for yards, but Bland rips it away, and he's got it before that elbow or his butt cheeks hit the ground. That means Dallas gets the win. That means Baker Mayfield left to explain how this one got away.
I mean, he had 2 hands on the ball. It's just obviously you got to be careful. Not to beat a dead horse, but I told him the same thing happened to me earlier in the game. I got it ripped out of my hands, both of my hands. They made some plays when it mattered, and it's all about the ball, and they did a good job taking it away.
Sterling had to take a knee during the game. What did you see from the rest of the wide receiver unit?
Those guys stepped up in a huge way, and I say that because it was a lot of 2-minute situations where getting lined up quickly, guys having to know what they're doing. So those guys, they executed for the most part really well in that scenario.
You see the late touchdown passes for Daniels. It is a theme, responsible for each of the 2 latest go-ahead touchdown passes in the NFL this year. The rest of the league has as many in the final 30 seconds as he does. He's the only rookie in NFL history with 2 go-ahead touchdown passes in the game's final 30 seconds. On the losing side, Philadelphia's winning streak comes to an end. Saquon asked if the approach on offense changed when they lost their quarterback.
He's our starting quarterback. You know what I mean? Everything that we do is kind of, and what he's able to do, and the reason why we've been super successful. But at the end of the day, Kenny came in and did a really good job. We just didn't get the job done. You know, there's one player here, one player there. That's football. It'll be a whole different conversation. So obviously, yes, you know, losing Jalen definitely hurt us, but I don't believe in more Rick lose. But definitely want to give a shout out to Kenny. I think he did a really good job coming in, handling the situation, and putting us in a position to win a football game.
Pickett was good, but obviously you lose a starting quarterback of Hurts' caliber, and you're going to lose something. Among the 57 quarterbacks with at least 10 starts since 2021, the only quarterback with a better record than Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. Hurts 45-17 over that span. Tim Hasselbeck was with us on Saturday to talk NFL and the college football playoff. As usual, with us here on Sunday. We just gave the specifics on Daniels' late touchdowns. This is a division game against a team that you're going to have to go through. Might have to see him down the road. We don't know. But as for what he did in this game, in totality, what most impressed?
I think it's his poise through all of it. You know, it obviously had a couple turnovers. It wasn't a perfect game. But in some of the most critical moments, like we saw the runs in the highlight. Well, how about a couple of these throws? This is the touchdown pass to McLaurin. They're bringing 3 to his left side. You only have 2 blockers, which means you're going to lose to the widest rusher. And so they do a good job of sifting it inside and out, so you lose to the widest rusher. But when this ball comes out, McLaurin's like on the 20-yard line, Scott. Like, that's how much anticipation he's playing with. This is the game winner to Crowder. Look at when he throws this football. Crowder's not even to the goal line. Look where the defenders are. Like, he's doing things in terms of the passing game as well as the run game that is making everyone around him so much better. You and I were talking. It's not like he walked into the situation where, like, hey, this thing was built for him, ready to go. I mean, he is doing it with receivers. I mean, you mentioned Crowder. Crowder hadn't even been active. Like, he catches 2 touchdown passes today. So I just think that probably the best thing you can ever say about a quarterback is he makes the guys around him better. Like, there may not be another guy making the guys around, there may not be anyone else making the guys around him better than he's doing it right now.
It's been a remarkable run. 10 wins, trending towards being a playoff team. And this is a franchise. You lived part of it, right? Like, it's been
the problem.
No, I didn't say that. But it's been a long time since they've been in the mix with this sort of optimism. A game such as this, understanding that Hurts was not in there, but this is a defense that has been playing at a high level, and they scored 36 on him. How important is this day for the direction of this team?
I think it's huge because it's the familiar opponent. You said it. Like, you could end up seeing these guys 3 weeks from now. And then I think the other aspect of it is this. You know, every Philly fan will say, hey, well, Jalen Hurts wasn't there. And that's true. That should be Philadelphia's posture. But Washington's posture is going to be, yeah, but we also turned it over all these times. Like, that's not us. That we haven't done that. Brian Robinson, 2 fumbles. Like, that isn't typical for us. But what we do feel great about is number 5 took over the football game, and going into Philly and having to do that, there should be no reason they don't have the confidence that they could get it done.
All right, Tim, we've been talking about Sam Darnold all season long. And I think the way we framed it earlier is that you can win with him.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that on a day such as this, they won because of him?
Yeah. No, I think that is a perfect way to put it. Because beginning part of the year, we were talking about Brian Flores, his defense. We were talking about, you know, like making things easy for him. But the trajectory of how he's played, now he's doing stuff and playing at a really high level. Left hash throw, running out of space in the red zone. To make that throw and really the design of the play going to Jordan Addison, super impressive. You showed this in the highlight. How about the climb in the pocket, but then also the move to the left to make this throw on the deep over. And then to do it again later in a more critical part of the game. Climb off your right foot. Look where the safety is when he makes that throw. Scott, I think when we talk about basically how you just described it, the degree of difficulty of some of the plays that he made, I think when you look at it, there's a small list of guys that can make those types of plays, both just ability-wise, you know, be able to make the throw, and then also feeling like you can try to make that play in that moment. So, I mean, look, you just had the numbers in terms of what he's accomplishing as a starting quarterback. Yeah, this is completely different. He is a totally different player than what we'd ever seen before, than what he is doing now.
His head coach had faith in him before we saw it. He's empowered him, and Darnold's rewarding it with this kind of play. I mentioned the schedule, and I mentioned the coach, Kevin O'Connell. It's pretty rugged. Coach O'Connell was asked about that schedule.
You allow yourself to speak about what can happen if you go 2-0 in terms of playoff seeding, and with whether it's with us or not. But
you're lobbing it right at the rim, man.
But with the team.
We can't go 2-0 without going 1-0. Like, and
if you go 1-0 and 1-0.
We'll talk next week.
You're so much better than that cliche, Coach. But he's right, and I get it. I'm interested in this. When you have a game such as this on the road against a team fighting for its playoff life, who's up for the fight, right? They sign up for 60. Now you got Green Bay coming into your joint, and then a trip to Detroit. and then you get to the playoffs. Just the amount of mental energy and physical energy that's required to essentially be in the playoffs before the playoffs. How heavy is all that?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is the playoffs started today for them.
In a sense,
and
right?
So now, yeah, because you basically 3 really tough opponents, teams with winning records, playoff caliber teams, and then playing the first week of the playoffs. Like that's what you are looking at. So, yeah, I think that can be exhausting. I think what it comes down to in terms of being able to handle it really ends up being, okay, what is the leadership like in your locker room? And then how in tune with your football team is the head coach?
And what do you see here?
Well, I mean, just even I think Kevin O'Connell's I think his finger on the pulse of his football team seems pretty good. Just so the idea of, all right, are we a little lighter on practice today because we just had to defend a bunch of Green Bay runs, the previous week. That type of stuff. And it feels like Kevin O'Connell's ready for that moment.
So that's a massive game for them. Meanwhile, Detroit, in the middle of that meeting in their place, has to go out and play a San Francisco team that obviously this has been a brutal year for them in so many different ways. But, I mean, if there's a team organizationally that's professional pride is going to dictate that they play hard, I would think it's San Francisco. That's just kind of a fascinating spot for them as well. Not a playoff team this year. It's going to end for them. But that's in the middle.
No, and it seems a fair amount of pride in the locker room in San Francisco.
There's teams that might not want to be playing too hard. I don't think the Niners are one of them. You combine the Buccaneers' loss with Atlanta's win, and Atlanta now leads the South. They come to Washington in a game that gets flexed to the NBC Sunday night game. Meanwhile, Tampa's at home against Carolina and New Orleans. Now, I want to go back to Monday night. We do SportsCenter afterwards, Ryan Clark and I. We weren't arguing, but I was like, I don't know how you could go to a rookie quarterback at this late in the season. But then I glanced up at the schedule like this, and I thought, home against a Giants team that, as I said, maybe not actively trying to win, competing, but if they lose, it's not the worst thing in the world. Maybe that's the perfect spot for him. How much do you think that stage, relatively comfortable, adds to his level of comfort on Sunday?
That was a low-pressure game for him.
That's better put in far fewer words.
And part of it is, like the opponent, but then also the benefit of the defensive scores. But I would say this, there's encouraging stuff here, and it's about watching a young quarterback's eyes. Third down, you mentioned in the highlight. He's working a 2-man combination to his left, but eyes and feet tied together, on time, accurate throw, and then, not staring in one spot. Same thing here on 3rd and 6, working to his right. Doesn't like the 2-man combination. Comes back inside. One to Mooney. Perfectly accurate throw. And then scope of vision when you're looking at things. Off of play action, he's got a deep over. Because of the play action, it affects the underneath coverage. But then they're going to rally to the football. But seeing in front, like it looks like, hey, was that ball thrown behind him? No. That's the quarterback being the receiver's eyes to stop him. So I think that, it seems like a weird time to make the move. At the same time, there was encouraging stuff in a low-pressure environment. Be a different story playing Washington a week from now, but pretty good start for Michael Penix.
But about that, you go to bed last night and you're trailing Tampa Bay. You wake up Monday morning and you're in first place in this division. How does the reality of that impact the way that whole room feels about where they're going?
Well, I think those two things, right? Okay, change at quarterback, new life at quarterback, and then new life in the playoff hunt in terms of winning the division. Like, there's hope. So any team that would say, hey, we'll give you hope going into week 17 of the NFL season, people will be signed up for that when you look around some of these other teams that don't have that.
They're playing an NFC East team next week that has an entirely different level of want to, given that Washington's in the middle of the playoffs. But well done for Penix today. Appreciate you, Tim.